Thanks so much for joining us today. My name's Denny. We're a lifestyle channel here in North Queensland, Australia. And at the moment we're doing stuff around the yard and the house in the shape of building urban style tropical gardens. And also today we're going to be fixing up a few gardens around the place, adding plants, adding mulch, and maybe trying to salvage some of the plants that we've already had in pots. Would love for you to join us if gardening's your thing. We are beginner gardeners, so there might be some mistakes along the way. I'm happily pointing them out as we discover the mistakes and what's worked and what hasn't worked as well. Maybe that might help you. And today is one of those days that's pure bliss for us. It's summer, it's normally really hot and you can't really sort of do much work outside until later in the day or very early in the morning. But today we've been blessed with some rain thanks to a recent event of a little cyclone that popped over the coast further north of us. And from that, we're enjoying a little bit of rain. The plants are loving it, those plants that are already in the garden. It's a time of year where we're really grateful that we've already started planting, because otherwise it gets a bit stagnant earlier in the year when there's not much rain around. And for some reason, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a gardener, but I definitely know that it makes a difference when you use rainwater on your plants up here in North Queensland. We have a big difference when we have rain, the plants seem to really thrive. Yeah, come along with us today, see what we get up to and get some more gardens built around the place. We'll start with pulling apart one of the gardens on the side of the house. Had cordylines down it, a lot of grass, really needed refurbishing, and we knew that we could reuse the cordylines throughout the tropical garden out the back in the pool area. And we wanted somewhere where we could replant our struggling herbs. That one there is an heirloom chili, and that was a basil. And I've given up what's in there. And I did create a bucket for our dragon fruit that was donated thanks to Mum. So let's wind back a bit and then we'll see how we go forward with putting some plants, mulch and other activities around the place to get our gardens up and running.
Go around.
Oh. Lee was just sorting out some stuff from the shed, looking through his irrigation, and look what the little cutie that he's found. Can you see? All happy tucked away down there. Gorgeous. He must be all tucked in that way. Just let him be. Oh, hang on, there's a little stick thing on top of him. That wouldn't have been nice. He's like, let me sleep. Let me sleep.
Let me get back into my irrigation stuff.
Himself a happy little spot, hasn't he? Not to put. He's got to be able to get out, I suppose.
You're right. Working himself out.
His head's still poking out.
No, get back down. Just there.
Looks like leave me alone.
Exactly what he's saying.
Have a nice quiet sleep till we came along. Simon! I'm going to call him Simon. Okay, we're going to put our stuff in another box so that Simon can be left in peace.
I'm going to get one out of the shed then.
Alright. Making Simon's house a bit better. it's all right, Simon. We're just going to tidy you up. His tongue's really pretty and blue. There we go. Put his house back together for him. I don't think he wanted to distract me then. Let's put him down on the shelf over here.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. So what are you doing? All good. All good, mate. Go back to sleep. We fixed up your home. Today we're taking the cordylines out of this overgrown garden bed and we're going to turn it into a herb and veggie garden bed. So we're out with the garden. Sunday afternoon, we've had a swim, enjoyed some air conditioning, and now the afternoon storms are coming in. It's definitely a lot cooler outside, so better get in and try and salvage some of these cordylines. They're not my favourite plant, but I certainly don't want to waste them. They'll go nicely, I think, around the garden space. And I found a little fern to save. So guess we better get into it. It's starting to rain a little bit, but I think that'll keep it nice and cool. Oh no! It's all good. It's just a little wet. Are you tinkering? Kind of found 2 ferns. These are about 6 months old, so they're really struggling. I'm going to plant them with the one that's struggling not as much and see if maybe they all like it around here. Whoops. Okay. It feels like we're starting to get somewhere. We also took the time to plant some pink gingers we bought off Facebook Marketplace. We'll see how they go. Apparently they like full sun, lots of water. And that's what this space is basically. Lots of sun, plenty of water with the ball. Thank you, come join me. Seeing you did all the hard work. Because you deserve it. Okay. Lee's making for me some dividers. We'll start shoveling in some dirt. Yes. Now that this garden's been rebuilt, got a fair few plants that need to go in before we buy any more. Chillings here were de-seeded from the red long chilies that you buy in your Coles and Woolies and etc. in your fresh food section. So I'm hoping that they will produce fruit. However, who knows what will happen, but they're certainly growing a lot over the last few months and definitely ready to go into the ground. That's a basil donated by Mum. Down here, Mum organised for me a blueberry plant, and even though it was getting water and a fair amount of shade throughout the day, it's still been struggling. So it might be just that it's in a pot, and I'm hoping I can salvage that. This kaffir lime tree, I'm going to replant that into the garden bed as well. And you can see the dead leaves behind it. It just completely died off. It got knocked over in the wind and then wasn't getting any, it was in a smaller pot I should say, and it got knocked over in the wind and then it wasn't getting any water, and I didn't notice for about a week, and it pretty much was dead. Took off the extra branches etc, and it was just maybe like woody stem that was the slightest little bit of green left in it, still a little bit of spring. Fortunately, the last few months has started to come back to life, which I'm really grateful for. So I think I'll plant that in the garden bed as well. I've been thinking about it, and for now I'm going to change my mind about planting the kaffir lime because it's in a pretty decent sized pot, still only small, and my concern is that it's going to grow probably too wide for the garden bed. I mean, I know you can trim it down, but I just want to see where it goes first. Also got that concern, I guess, with the blueberry bush, and I really didn't think it through buying dwarf citrus. I thought dwarf would mean that it's pretty small and just grows to about my size, but I'm pretty sure it grows to a couple of meters, which, you know, if you go a couple of meters tall, a couple of meters wide, that's not really that dwarf, and it's not going to fit down the side here that well. This will be something that we'll keep an eye on over the next year or so and see what happens with our citrus as well. One of the things I'm pretty sure I've done wrong, when I first started buying pots to put some plants in, I guess I was a bit excited and just wanted to get started before I had garden bed. I spent a little bit more money on the pots, and I bought self-watering kind of pots, or pots that retained water, like this one here with the struggling parsley. Now parsley normally is pretty easy to grow up here in North Queensland, and I think the reason why my plants are struggling in these pots because they get drowned, so they don't have a chance to dry out, and with the sprinklers running every night, even for just 5 minutes, it's enough to keep the pot continuously topped up, and I'm pretty sure that I'm drowning my plants. So I've figured out that if you're going to use a pot that retains moisture, you either want plants that absolutely love that wetness or dampness or having their roots wet, or don't water your pots every day. In hindsight, I guess that's really obvious. However, not for me. I guess that's one of the fun things about being a beginner gardener, is that you learn these things. The not so fun things is the money that you spend and the time and effort that you put in to realise the mistake you've made. Some of the failures that I've experienced with the self-watering pots is in this bad boy right here. I've had some lovely big ferns in there that just absolutely drowned, stunk rotten, probably because they were rotten, and just lost it completely. So I have got in here mint, and I reckon mint would be pretty hard to kill, but it's not doing that well. It's only been in there for about a month, so I'm trying to figure out whether or not just to leave the mint in there and let it work its way over summer, or whether to replant it and just give up on this area. I might just leave the mint in there and put it in an area where it's not going to get daily waterings, and it's up to me to keep it watered, and see if that works, see if my theory works even. Because these were all planted from seed and just put together in a few little pots, I had started just planting them singularly and then breaking a few up and just putting a few at a time, and then I've just gone, oh heck, don't worry about it. Chuck them in holes straight out of the pot with maybe 10 seedlings, boom, in the ground. That's what it's going to look like. We'll have a little bit of mulch at some point soon. Let's see how these chilies go. And then we've got my little parsley there that I've replanted from the pot and some lemongrass. I've got another chili plant to plant that I've only seen flowers but no chilies. Maybe once it's out of the container and in the ground it might do better. Replant that and then let's go get some more plants and some mulch and keep going. My brother told me a story about his basil plants dying. They were in a container, so he just threw them in the shed and forgot about them. And then about 6 months later he opened the shed and they were alive and thriving. So might have been a leak in the shed or something for rain. So my dead basil plants are going in the ground just in case they've got seeds or something dormant. It's unlikely. Worst case scenario, it becomes a little bit of compost. Best case scenario, I've got some more basil. With all that rain and a crazy border collie who hasn't had a chance to get out much lately, we've had to make a little temporary fence so that this grass area here and this mud that he's been broad sliding in throughout that wet period might have half a chance of growing back again. Just went and got some mulch. And it's a pretty big trailer load, I might add, is at 3 cubic meters. She's piled high. But first of all, I'm going to throw in some blood and bone into this new garden bed and we'll get the mulch in and hopefully we'll get some plants to grow. Isn't that smelly? Oh, it's hot. A week's passed. Let's go and see if the parsley survived. Bought a few seedlings mostly because I'm a bit excited and a bit of a hurry and I want to get something happening sooner than later, but I'll leave a space to put some seeds down as well. I noticed also when thinking about what I wanted in the way of a seedling, there wasn't a lot of options out there available. It might just be that it's coming up close to Christmas, school holidays, etc., or maybe it's out of season. I did pick up a couple of things. I also bought a parsley just in case, and I bought a mint, and then I remembered the mint that I'm growing at the moment in that pot is some sort of mint, like an apple mint or something, and it's not your standard mint that just goes off. So I'll pop in the normal mint as well, maybe with that same pot, and see how that goes. And because we eat a lot of fruit and veggies and salads, etc. I've been throwing our scraps down just into the back corner. However, I got a bit excited and bought myself just a standard run-of-the-mill compost bin, so we'll get that cracking along as well and finalise our seedling garden bed with the veggies and herbs. Yeah.
Box over there.
Yeah, it might be a bit rotten. It's been in the water. First of all, Lee's read somewhere that you can replant the tops of your pineapples. So we've just bought a couple of gorgeous pineapples that were growing up the road. And so we're going to throw one of them in this new garden bed that we've just created and see if that one cranks along. I heard pineapples take ages though, so maybe next year sometime we'll see if there's an update or if we've killed it by then. So we've googled it. Apparently you got to peel about well, we're talking in old school sizes or American sizes if you like, about an inch from the top. Whiskey, stop it. About an inch from the top, and you got to cut about an inch below the top to bury it. Did it say how long it takes?
A couple of months for roots.
Alright.
Apparently, but indirect sunlight.
Indirect sunlight.
So you're not going to be able to put it here. So you have to find somewhere different than there.
Not in space, direct sunlight.
Indirect.
It's indirect.
Yes.
Okay. Who would that be?
Probably under there somewhere.
In with the golden canes. What? You wanna be here too, do you? Hey? You wanna be involved? You want your back packed? And you want your back scratched and patted. Same time.
There you go. Joy.
Alright, let's planting.
Oh, actually, no, that's not right. Sorry, my bad. I missed a step. Gotta let it dry out for a week.
Oh, so don't get excited yet then.
No, let it dry out for a week.
Alright.
If you have to let it dry out for a week or so, otherwise it might rot.
Let's see, that's all dry. So we're discovering that all this mulch, even though we had a big heap of rain this morning, it's all dry. Which is probably bad.
Maybe need to set it away from it so the water gets inside. You're the freaking cool, you're the bloody...
I don't know anything about growing seedlings. When I bought the seedlings, the lady in the garden shop said that for zucchinis, that they don't like the leaves getting wet and to just water the roots. So I'm thinking like we might need to put in a trickle feed system along here. The interesting thing is though, I don't have zucchinis, I bought cucumbers and she didn't know anything about cucumbers, so I probably should Google that anyway. Maybe? See if this will make any difference.
It's wetter.
I think maybe, I'm just thinking about other gardening videos. From what I can remember, the gardeners use more of a straw mulch. Then this is a tea tree, very fine sort of mulch, so it seems to be quite dense. Let's see. Now it's like quicksand. I don't even know where the dirt is. Could all just be a waste of time. There you go. That's a very deep hole. What do you reckon? Oops. That's dry right there. Bone dry, even though it's just been soaked with the water. Alright, let's call it a day then. Thank you so much for watching. Let's see where this goes. I'm not feeling that optimistic right now, nor is Lee. We were so excited about planting our little seedlings, we just didn't realise that maybe we've made a big mistake in creating our garden bed. So watch your space and see what happens next. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye. You say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.